I am really excited today because we have Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum in the classroom. The doctor is in the classroom. And today we're going to talk about home remedies from A to Z. You know, many times we feel disempowered. We think that we have to go to a doctor for certain conditions. But what if there are things that you can do to prolong that from happening? See if you can fix it yourself. You know your body best, but if you can't, then what do you do? Fortunately for us, we get to fasten our seatbelts because we're going to learn and grow together. It's time to dance, Dr. Teitelbaum. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who've been tuning in to the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom since 2011, or maybe you just tuned in for the first time yesterday, welcome back. But if this is your first time in the classroom, just know we've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can turn to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, that you will feel like you can embrace a new truth and live your best life naturally. Naturally is the operative word here. This is the desire, is that you get to listen to your body, give it what it needs, and end whatever would progress from that point on. Nip it in, I say nip it in the thought. Some people say nip it in the bud. I say nip it in the thought. But you can nip it right when you start feeling your body speak to you. Is it a sore throat? Is it a headache? What is it? So today, we get to have Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. Let me tell you, he is board-certified internist. He's also nationally known as an expert in the field of chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia. We have sleep and pain, Alzheimer's, and we've done all those classes and all those lessons. You can find them at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now, as a result of his own health crisis, he went into a journey of his own health so that this wonderful MD now can offer options for all of us. And so he has an app, and I love his app. I consult it a lot because I want to see if this is something that I can do myself or this is something that I can help my body on, or maybe there's a time for me to go to the doctor. And with that, it's called Cures A-Z. It's an app that you can get for free. You can upgrade it if you want. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to get it right from the doctor's mouth, Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum, to share how we can do household remedies from A to Z. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Teitelbaum is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Teitelbaum, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom.
Lillian and everybody, hello. So are you ready to learn to be your own best doctor?
Absolutely.
Tired of everybody telling you that you got to go to the doctor and everything they say tries to disempower you. They even make you go naked with one of those little white paper gowns on with your butt sticking out of the back. Anything we can do medically to make you think you have no power, that's what they've done. Well, ain't going to be like that today. Today, we're going to teach you that you have the power of your own health and how to determine and be your own best doctor, and then when to get help. So I'm here not to teach you so that you can just spit out what I say, but to teach you how to be your own doctor, how to trust your own intuition, how to let how things feel to you guide you to your truth.
I love that. And it was Dr. Richard Horowitz. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a expert in the field of Lyme disease. He's been in the classroom as a teacher many times. And he said, we need to be our own MD, medical detective. And that has stuck with me for such a long time. You know, to me, when I look at MD, and Dr. Lorraine Day says, listen, if MDs had anything over us or other people, then they would never die of common diseases, right? They would never get diabetes. They would never get cancer. They would never, if doctors knew more than us. Yes, they are trained, and yes, they may have a little bit more information, but the reality, she says, is that we're all learning. We're all learning, and each person is different, but we want to treat everybody. And this is my spin. Everybody's different, but we want to treat each person the same. And there's no one size fits all, right, Dr. Teitelbaum?
Absolutely. It's kind of like the average shoe size is 8. And if you try to squeeze everybody into an 8, it just don't work. But doctors try to do that. So we're going to teach you how to navigate through the healthcare system, because there's so much, what's the medical term, BS out there. And for you to learn what's a trusted sources for what kind of information will incredibly empower you. So we're going to tell you how to take care of everything from acne to zoster. Give you tools. They'll be like having me in your pocket, but or my brain in your pocket, but just a lot less messy, and using your own intuitive sense to tailor that shoe size to what feels and fits best for you.
Now, you are classically trained, an MD, been told to how to prescribe medication. How did you, like you say, how is a man like you doing in a place like this? How did you say, okay, there are times where I am going to embrace holistic, and there are times where I'm going to embrace the allopathic community? So let's share a little bit about your journey and how that happened.
I got into holistic medicine the old-fashioned way. I found myself on the other side of the white coat. When I was in medical school, I came down with a nasty viral infection and chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. It knocked me out of medical school. And since I was paying my own way through medical school, I couldn't work. I had no job. I was homeless, sleeping in parks. And I figured my life was crushed. My whole life had been geared to being a physician. And there I am, less than $1 in my pocket, go for days without eating. But it's as if the universe put a holistic homeless medical school sign on my park bench. Naturopaths, I didn't even know there was such a thing as naturopaths, herbalists, energy workers, all these different teachers of different modalities. They all taught me bits and pieces. And I was able to cobble that together to make a protocol to get myself well from fibromyalgia. Went back to medical school, did honors. But it was funny because I would go in and I'm a science geek. And it's, I couldn't get a date to save my life or even talk to a girl. I was so shy, my tongue would fall out of my mouth and stick to the ground. But, I know that God loved me because the most beautiful girl in the world is turned on by science geeks, and she married me. It's like, thank God. But they used to call me the ghost because at 2, 3 in the morning, I'd be in the medical library going through the journal stacks, just pulling out different journals from different time periods, getting perspective over time. I'm a science geek. And I would find all these studies that they never taught me about. And I said, what's going on? And I'd go to my professors and I say to them, see the study that vitamin B2 knocks out 70% of migraines, double-blind study, and they looked at me like I just dropped a big poop on the floor in front of them. I said, but here's the research. It's not, all nonsense. I said, but you want to see the study? All nonsense. I'm not going to waste my time on that nonsense. Gives you the mindset. But what I would find is about 10% of doctors would come up to me and say, Teitelbaum, what's that BS are you doing? I still remember the head of cardiology at my hospital did that for to give IV magnesium. I said, Bob, I'm glad they asked. And I got him a stack of 15 studies or so. And he actually took them and read them. And he came home the next day and said, why has nobody ever taught me about this when he came back to the
Yeah.
hospital? And he said, I want you to give the next grand rounds on magnesium and cardiology. So you have about 10% of doctors who will actually look at the research.
Mhm.
And these go on to become what are called holistic physicians.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it's wonderful that we have you here so that you can help empower us too, because we've been taught from day one to give up our power, to look outside of our bodies, yeah, I know. But we were we were perfectly made, but we're always trying to find the cure outside of us. And so I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to see and listen to our own intuition, to our own, what our body is saying to us, and really take a pulse. And how do you find, what do you do, Dr. Teitelbaum, if you're trying to figure out and tune into your body? What do you do to listen?
I use my feelings. To me, feelings are the language of our intuition, the language of our soul, if you would.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the mind is a product of our programming throughout our lifetime. What we got from our parents, religious structures, our political structures, TV, all that. It's just like a computer that's been programmed, and the mind just spits out what we've been taught to do to get approval.
Mm-hmm.
Has no idea who we are. But our feelings know it's authentic. So I liken it to a GPS. If you go in your car and say the GPS is your brain, and say, GPS, take me where I want to go. Just I don't know where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
GPS, take me where I want to go. It's like, and keep saying that, and maybe the GPS from 10 years from now will look up, okay, most popular places to go. It'll just take you there. It has no idea where you are and who you are. So, but your feelings know. So once your feelings tell you where you want to go, you take that address, you plug it into the GPS, then the brain is brilliant at getting you there.
Mm-hmm.
But most people do it the other way. They look to their brain, which will just be the product of what everybody else wants you to do, and ignore their feelings, which is what's authentic.
Yes, very good.
See how things feel.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's start from now. For those of you who are watching and you're joining us on Facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, and you're always welcome, whether you're listening on podcast or watching on YouTube later, please feel free to join us during the live lessons of the classroom. And so if you have a question, put a Q around before you write your question down, and it will be written to me so that I can see it, that it's a question, not a statement. At the end of the broadcast, we will look at what people are saying, but right now I want to focus on Dr. Teitelbaum. So if you have a question, please start it with a Q, a capital Q, and then it will be addressed. So here we go. So start with A. I thought, let's go chronologically, or not chronologically, alphabetically. And let's start with acid reflux. There's a lot of people who have acid reflux. I've learned that chia seeds work wonderful for me if I ever experience that. But let's talk about A to Z, what you're considering when people have acid reflux, what to look for, and all that.
So acid reflux, including GERD or and heartburn, all of these things. Basically, if it's in the solar plexus area or mid-chest that you're having the burning, then that suggests that the stomach isn't functioning properly.
Okay.
The problem is not too much stomach acid. Otherwise, as people got older and they make less stomach acid, they'd have less indigestion, and it's quite the opposite. The problem is poor digestion. When you have poor digestion, the food sits in your stomach, and it sits and it sits, it doesn't digest. And after a while, your stomach hits the return to sender button, and boop, and then any acid in the unprotected food pipe burns. So what do you do? Now, what most doctors do is they say, well, here's Prilosec or Nexium or the other PPIs. What the doctors don't know, because nobody's paying to get them the information, is that these medications contribute to about 30,000 U.S. deaths a year. People are 25% more likely to die during taking them. So they are not meant to be long-term use, but they are incredibly addictive, so they're very hard to stop. So if you just stop the medication, you're going to get rebound acid hypersecretion from hell, and you're going to curse my name. Do this instead. You can look at the app. This is all written down.
Yes.
So one, you improve digestion. There's two key components to digestion. One, besides for chewing, one would be digestive enzymes, and the other is stomach acid. What happened is that about 40 years ago, food processors learned that if they destroy the enzymes in food,
Mm-hmm.
they prolong shelf life because the food doesn't ripen. But the enzymes in food are the main enzymes that your body uses to digest the food. It makes a little bit more on its own, but most used to be present in the food. So some people will take animal-based digestive enzymes. They don't work. In 25 years of medicine, I never saw one person get better. And it was a chiropractor of all folks who taught me that those don't work in the acid range you need. You
What
need
would be,
plant-based
I want
enzymes.
to ask you, what would be an animal-based acid?
Anything that doesn't say vegetarian on the label for digestive enzymes,
Okay.
put them back. So you have things like Complete Just would be one good one, but any of the digestive enzymes that say 100% vegetarian, take that one, and take one or two with meals. Then increase the acid that you have. I know you said, but I already have heartburn because you don't have the acid to digest your food.
Right.
So the way to increase the acid, there's a couple simple ways. You can use betaine HCl from the health food store. What I prefer, you can make a vinegar-based salad dressing because vinegar is very acidic. I'll give a recommendation that some of your listeners won't like, but it's still a good one, which is to use Diet Cola. And Zevia makes an all-natural stevia-sweetened cola.
Uh-huh.
No sugar, no chemicals. You can get it at Safeway or your health food store.
What's it called?
Zevia.
Zevia.
They make a whole line of sodas, but the colas are very acidic, and they will help you digest your food. So step one, digest your food properly. The other question you have to look at is the stomach's just a piece of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Why doesn't the stomach acid digest the stomach?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is it would if it could ever touch the stomach wall. But the stomach lining is constantly putting out this mucus layer quicker than the acid can melt the mucus. So it's like this big balloon of mucus that protects the stomach wall. And the acid blockers turn off production of that mucus lining along with the acid. But if that mucus protective, wonderful mucus lining is not strong enough, the acid will work its way through and burn a hole in the stomach, which is what an ulcer is. So you can use simple things like, I like DGL licorice. If you don't like the taste of licorice, there's a wonderful one called Advanced DGL, where you don't have to chew it and you don't have the licoricey taste. I like the taste of licorice, so not an issue. Marshmallow root. These are all simple things that after 6 months can help rebuild the stomach lining. So you do all of these. You do the willow bark, the marshmallow root, the DGL licorice. You do the digestive enzymes and some acid with your meals. Give that 6 weeks. Then switch from the acid blocker to either Tagamet, Pepcid, or Zantac. Those three are much safer than the other acid blockers. Tagamet would be the best. You stay on that for 6 weeks. That way your body starts to withdraw from being dependent on the acid blockers. It doesn't totally shut down acid production. And then you'll find over about 4 to 6 weeks, you can wean down the dose of the Tagamet. You're done with it. You have healthy digestion. Your food's now getting the nutrition and nourishment from the diet, and you will feel so much better.
Very good. Very good. I don't think I've ever shared this with you, but I had the condition as well that I didn't produce enough acid, but they told me that I was producing too much acid and they were giving me an Nexium, and I took Nexium and Prilosec for many, many, many years.
Nasty
And I think
stuff.
I'm still suffering the effects of that. But, after 6 or 7 years of a whole food plant-based diet, as close to, vegan as possible, I rarely. Now I take a glass of water, like a third cup of water, filtered water, and I put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. Is that okay?
I think that's fine, as long as it's not feeling too caustic. Your body will tell you. If it
Okay.
feels okay, then it's okay.
Okay.
And somebody has asked about the booch. They're
Kombucha.
a
Yeah.
boochie.
Kombucha.
And the booch can supply enzymes that are very helpful, would be my expectation. So I think it can be helpful in that way, but it doesn't substitute for some of the other things we talked about in terms of the mucus protective lining.
Okay. So, so you're saying kombucha can help?
I would suspect that it would be high in enzymes that would help digest food, would be
Yeah.
my suspicion.
Okay. So I know that they sell kombucha now in the store, and how much is too much? Because we see a whole bottle, we want to drink the whole bottle, and
Listen to your body.
okay.
If it's too much, you won't feel good.
Okay. Okay. So
That's going to be the simple answer I'm going to give you over and over today, Lillian.
okay. Oh, well, you know what? We can't hear it enough. So we need to hear that over. When I say we, I mean I. So okay. So thank you, Victoria, for that question. And it helps her. So she's very happy with that. So I'm glad. Any questions, please do what Victoria did. Put the Q there, and then the question will be posted so that we can all see it. Okay. So the next thing, is there anything else you want to say about acid reflux before we move on?
Well, there's a lot, but it's in the app. If you're having nighttime acid reflux, you want gravity to be your friend, you'd be amazed how much nighttime acid reflux causes daytime heartburn. So you can go ahead and take a half a teaspoon of Arm & Hammer baking soda and just 2 ounces of water right before bedtime to neutralize stomach acid for 4 or 5 hours. I get a sleep wedge pillow from hammocker.com, or you can just put blocks under the head of the bed, the legs at the head of the bed, so that your bed has a slight tilt, your head's over here, so gravity keeps the stomach flowing downhill. Otherwise, gravity's not your friend and the stomach acids flow
Correct.
up. And I recommend taking the digestive enzymes also an hour before bedtime to make sure the digestive process is completed.
1 hour before bedtime. Okay.
But all of this is in the app.
Okay, that's in the app. And I want to show you what the app looks like. It's right there. You see? It's called Cures AZ. And then there's like an advanced one. I don't know if you can see that really well. There's an advanced, let me click on it so that you can see what it looks like when you get on there. You can upgrade for just $1.99. So I think that's what it is. Yeah, $1.99 to upgrade. And it gives you like a quick idea of, if you look at it, it gives you a quick idea of what the treatment is, what the causes are, and it gives you the conditions, and you can see them right there. And then you can see the ones that are upgrades, okay? So, but it's good. It's a great start for you. Okay, so the next one is, and every time we do a classroom on this, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of people hurting, Dr. Teitelbaum. And I want to stick with another A word, which is anxiety. And so there's a lot of people that may be interested in this question. So.
Well, anxiety, first of all, listening to your feelings and learning that it's okay to say no. A big part of anxiety, there's a lot of reasons behind it, but one of the things is that if we are afraid that we can't say no and protect our boundaries, then we're going to get anxious and angry. And it's okay to feel those feelings, but then to let go of them. But sometimes it's biochemical. So simple things, start with a good multivitamin that has B vitamins and magnesium. I like one called the Energy Revitalization System Vitamin Powder. It replaces 50 pills with 1 drink. And it's just simple, cheap, and you're just covered for the day. And people are amazed at how many things, including their anxiety, will settle down after a couple of weeks on that. Anxio Calm.
What is that called again? Can you say that again?
It's called the Energy Revitalization System. And for people who don't like to take powders or drink, you can just, Clinical Essentials is the best pill multivitamin for 2 pills a day. But the powder is superb. And so the other things would be something called Angsiocalm, which is a unique component of echinacea that actually works a little bit like cannabis and helps settle anxiety. 2 twice a day after 6 weeks was as effective as Valium in a head-on study.
Wow.
For very severe anxiety, 2 of the favorite things, one would be hemp oil. I like to use the entire hemp oil, not just CBD, because there are probably 100 different cannabinoids that really help support for anxiety and pain and sleep and all those kind of things. any good hemp oil is going to be expensive because it's just expensive to make. The one that I use is called Hemp Select. That's a superb quality one, and people can take. You can't overdose on it. It's just the price. Any good hemp, like I say, is pricey, but I give 3 twice a day for pain or anxiety and 5 at nighttime for sleep. But you can just take it as needed. You get an anxiety attack, and you just pop 3 to 5 of the capsules
Wow.
to break it. A superb thing for anxiety is a mix of a bunch of different herbs and nutrients called Calming Balance, Balance. Now, that one is hard to find. Most of these you can find on my website at endfatigue.com.
Oh,
So,
and fatigue. Okay, not
yeah.
Vitality 101.
Well, Vitality 101 has information, and that's E, and like Nancy, D like David, fatigue.com has products.
Okay.
But the calming balance, 3 twice a day after 6 weeks. I'm sorry, three times a day for 6 weeks. Uh, People love it because they calm right out. Their energy goes up. Their mental clarity increases. It's just really, really good. But it's 9 capsules a day. It's not expensive, but because it's 9 capsules a day, I tend to save that for more hardcore cases.
I hear you. I hear you. So we have a question. We're going to go back. It's from Barbara. Thank you, Barbara, for your question. She says, let's see, is it safe to be on digestive enzymes long term?
Absolutely, it's very, very, very healthy.
Okay, and then the follow-up question is, I'm on Soma and tried to get off, but the pain was too much and went back on it. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, Soma is basically a narcotic for pain. And it's like Demerol, basically gets turned into Demerol in the body. I don't really use it very often because it can be quite addictive. Sometimes there are people who find one at bedtime for sleep can be very helpful, but generally I avoid that one. Um, the thing is, there's 2 components. One is the addictive thing, but if you're if you're taking one a day, that's not going to be very addictive. But the second thing is, if you stop it, then the pain that it's masking comes back. So the key thing for understanding pain is that pain is not an outside invader like an infection. Pain is part of your body's, on your car's dashboard, you have all these lights, and it's
Mm-hmm.
part of the monitoring system. So if you have a red flashing light on your car's dashboard, you know that something needs attention. Now,
Mm-hmm.
usually you go to the owner's manual that you never looked at before in the car, in the glove compartment, and you look up that light, and it says, oh, that's the oil light. Put oil in the car, and you put oil in the car, and the light goes off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Most doctors have no concept of pain management. What they do is they put a Band-Aid over the light. They give you soma to put a Band-Aid over the pain instead of just putting oil in the car, giving your body what it needs. So the question is, how do you know what your body needs? Well,
Mm-hmm.
the Cure's A to Z was written to be an owner's manual for your body,
Mm-hmm.
kind of a short, simple thing. So if you look at each kind of pain, the app will tell you, here's the best of natural things to make the pain go away. The hemp oil, the hemp select that I mentioned, outstanding. An herbal mix called Curamin,
Mm-hmm.
Curamin, has been a pain relief miracle for people. End pain, topical comfrey, so many natural things that in head-on studies are more effective than medications.
Yeah.
But
Well,
to understand, though, things like ibuprofen, these are not benign medications. These are massive studies have shown that they cause about 50,000 deaths a year in the United States. But you don't hear about
no,
that
you
on the news
don't.
media at all because the news media does not want to piss off its advertisers.
No, and not only, I mean, those are the people who die, but there are
Yep.
people who get they're injured their liver. We have a friend that caused his kidneys to malfunction, and
Yep.
he ended up dying after he got a kidney. So it's if we can do anything that we for ourselves, but don't these pain pills, don't they have like an adverse? You talked about that it's masking it, but then when you get off of it, doesn't it cause you to intensify or
No,
have any?
Not so much, Lillian.
Okay.
The narcotics will cause testosterone deficiency and B vitamin deficiencies, so that can then accentuate the pain.
Okay.
But those you look for and you address those as well. The vitamin powder will take care of the magnesium and B vitamin deficiencies.
Okay.
Um, but no, usually there's not really a rebound that you see. But I want to make an important point.
Mhm.
Um, Chronic pain is more toxic than any of these medications. The ibuprofens, the somas, the narcotics. So it is never acceptable to leave somebody in chronic pain. And I treat thousands of people with the most severe chronic pain. I can count on my digits how many people over 45 years that I've not been able to get good, solid pain relief for that left them comfortable with it. So pain is very treatable unless you see your doctor.
Okay. Pain is treatable unless you see your doctor.
Because the doctor's education, they are clueless, and they are clueless that they're clueless.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know that they don't know.
And so interesting that you would say pain is manageable unless you see your doctor.
Yeah.
It took me a while to repeat that, because the way they say it on the television is they give you all these beautiful images of, you taking this medication for pain
Yeah.
or for diabetes, and you say that you hear like a 2-second, I'm on this medication, and you see all these images of beauty and fun and laughter, and they look so wonderful.
But
But
Lillian,
then
I think they should combine the words on the bottom of the screen with the pictures. So I think they should show all these butterflies going by having rectal leakage. This way,
exactly.
you
So,
know.
all the symptoms, and you're listening to all these symptoms, and they're all laughing and having a good time. So we're rewriting what our brain is saying, warning, warning, that flashing light, our brain is just going, oh, look, if you take this pill, you'll look that happy too. And so I just want to encourage everybody that if there is an addiction to any medication, or well, not me encourage, Dr. Teitelbaum, how can somebody get off something like Soma and increase, so they can titrate down and increase, and so that they don't experience that extra pain?
Look at the app, or for much more detailed information, one of my 10 books now, Pain Free 123, goes through each kind of pain and says, here's what your body is saying it needs for this pain. So it'll go through the natural things. And then there are, this is a case where I'll use the best of the pain and the medications, both the natural and prescription. Use the whole toolkit. So you really have to tailor it to each individual. I do treat people from all over the world, with mostly people with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, and I often do that by phone. But if you go to that website's gone. But if you look for a physical medicine and rehabilitation specialist, especially one who's also holistic, that's going to be your best chance of a doctor who has a clue. But you want one who started in internal medicine. The ones who started as anesthesiologists or surgeons will mostly want to put needles and probes and stuff in you, which can be helpful. But you want somebody to treat the root causes.
Yeah. And you and I talked one time, I don't know if we were on the air or off the air, and I want to encourage everybody to go and check out some of the lessons from Dr. Teitelbaum. But you and I talked about the importance of healing emotional scars, emotional pain, childhood traumas, that manifests into the body and creates pain as well. Would you like to add anything about that?
Absolutely, because you have to understand, we talk about the fight and flight reaction, that you fight or you run. But what happens if you can't fight and you can't run? Say you're an 8-year-old child and an alcoholic, abusive father's coming in, towering over you, screaming at you, and even raping you. I mean, what can you do? There's a third thing. If you can't fight and you can't run, people freeze. The muscles all tighten up into a suit of armor, and you go numb. And that is a protective mechanism. People sometimes think, oh, why didn't I fight the rapist? You couldn't. Your body had the sense heroically to go into that freeze mode, and that protected you from harm. That was a hero's journey that it did. If you would have fought back, it would have been killed. So people go into that freeze mode, and it's very hard for humans. An animal can do it. You see a mouse in a cat's, mouth being, it looks like the mouse is all dead until the cat puts it down, looks away, and the mouse is gone. The mouse is in that frozen possum mode. Uh, some mammals can come quickly out of that, but humans have trouble with it. So there's a simple technique. And you've heard the expression shake it off. And that expression comes from, if you see in the movies where the little mouse who's, gets away and he's hiding in the corner, shivering like that, that's shaking off the freeze mode. You'll see that with most any mammal.
Interesting.
That when they get out of this, back to a safe place from a life-threatening trauma, they have to shake it off. That's why the coach tells the football players, shake it off. But humans feel stupid during the trembling and letting it happen, so we suppress it, and the states pile up one on top of the other and never clear. So you can get a book called Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine, a nice, simple, short, cheap book. You can do it on your own, or you can just, when you feel, let yourself know that if you ever get this feeling like something's bubbling up and wants to tremble out of you, let the trembling happen. If you're in the middle of 100 people, save it for later so you don't feel silly. But when you're by yourself, or let your spouse know, this is okay, honey, it's a good thing.
Very good. Very good.
And that will shake it off. There's also a lot of work with what's called polyvagal theory, especially if you have trouble with sound sensitivity. If you're in noisy areas, it's really uncomfortable, and you have trouble making out what people are saying. That suggests that your nervous system is locked down. You can read books on polyvagal theory that they're a little bit medicalese, but they will teach you how to release that part of it. And there's emotional freedom technique to release emotional energy. So there's a lot of things you can do to release both the fascia and the emotional energy of trauma.
Very good. Very good. Very well said. Thank you so much, Dr. Teitelbaum. Okay, so I want to take a little moment here. These are the kinds of things that we get to learn that we get to learn in this classroom that most people don't understand. There's a lot more people out there thinking that suppression, ignoring, taking that pill is going to help you. And when you get outside of that mentality, miracles happen, because now you have the power. You take your co-creator. You're a co-creator of your life. And once let's say, we create everything, right? And if you create it, that means you can uncreate it. And you can redesign it, reformat it. And that's what we talk about in the classroom, is how we can take our life back, spirit, mind, and body. So I want to encourage you to go to whenyounneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber, as well as when you go there, click on to all my icons and different ways that you can support the classroom. And like and follow, share, help us grow the classroom. And so there are sponsors who have stood by us and said, I believe in this and I want to support the classroom. And so these are sponsors like Liberty Health Share, Keep Me Safe Organics, First Alternative Care, Dr. Stephen Grable from Jackson Beach, Florida, the pharmacy in Merritt Island, Live Longer Medical in Indialantic in Florida, in Brevard County. And of course, we have the foundation called the McDermott Holistic Healing Foundation. Those are all things you can learn more. Please help our sponsors. Click on the sponsors page and figure out ways that you can support them as they are supporting the classroom. And here's one more thing. You can become an enrolled student. So if you click on there, you can too. You can donate either monthly or one time or whatever it is that you want to help the classroom grow. So consider it and help everybody. Let's all grow together. You can listen to the podcast. There's so many different podcasts. You can also watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. So many ways to be connected. And you can also text me at 407-373-5959. Today we have Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum. And, we've talked about the SHINE method, the MIND method that you've created, Dr. Teitelbaum. Today we're talking about your app, Cure A-Z. Cures A-Z. You can get it on your phones and start learning and growing within yourself. So we started with the A's. I'm going to skip the C's. Go ahead.
Lillian, can I do one quick comment?
Sure,
Because
sure.
you just made the comment about if you want to create your own reality in your own life, to be the creator of it instead of just being,
The bystander.
helplessly
Yeah.
bystander. You talked about and alluded to the importance of owning all of yourself, because until
Mhm.
you own everything that you are, you have no control over it to now change it. I'm going to invite the listeners to take that one step further. If you want to change the world, as long as you're thinking it's the outside world coming in and
Yeah.
attacking me, you have no ability to change it because you're not owning it. But if you take the perspective, it's almost like the old Buddhist, we're all one. You hear that kind of, we're all one. But if you look at that, we are all one. And now you're owning all these things out there. Suddenly, once you've owned it, now it's yours to change,
Mhm.
and nobody out there has any power over you. You can change all of that.
Yeah.
So extend owning yourself, making everything that exists part of you.
I love that. I love that. I think it's great. For those of you who want to go and download the app, you can go to your app store. Whether I don't have an Android, I have a iPhone, and so I go to the iPhone app. But I'm sure Android has a way to download, and it's Cures A-Z. So let's talk about. I was going to talk about Candida, but I think we've done top with that topic before where you've shared, but let's talk about fingernails, because fingernails is also a sign of candida, like if you have a fungus or anything like that. But you talk about fingernail issues in your app. Would you like to share a little bit about why that was important to be in the app?
Well, because it's such a common issue. The fingernails are the reflection of your nutritional status in your body.
Hmm.
So people and your hormonal status. So when you have weak, peeling, chipping, cracking nails, again, a lot of people find when they take the energy revitalization system vitamin powder, 6 weeks later, the hair and nails are getting much better. There's a new product called Hair Renew, which is an excellent product for hair, making thicker hair, and also optimizing iron. I want to mention being vegetarian and having a low stomach acid, you're at risk for iron deficiency and B12 deficiency.
Okay.
So the vegan diet's very healthy, but make sure that you're getting the B12 and the iron because you're
Yes.
at higher risk for that. So the nails, it's like the eyes are the mirror of the soul, and the nails are the reflection of the physical components.
Hmm.
Certainly, most people are aware of what nails that have fungal infections look like.
Hmm.
You can use medications like Lamisil for 6 weeks to knock it out, or you can take Vicks Vapor Rub, and every time you wet the nails, like in the shower, because mostly it's going to be in the toenails, rub the Vicks Vapor Rub, and this is in the app, onto the nail. You'll find after a while the nail turns black, and that means that it's killed the fungus. And then keep rubbing it on, and you'll see that the healthy nail will grow in at the bottom, and healthy nail and the old dead deformed nail grows out. You just trim it away a little, as it grows out until you have a nice healthy nail and you're done.
What about when you have, I've seen people that have like gray nails. What is that all about?
There's a number of things, and I'd have to look at those specific things. But you can see anemia, stuff like that, where it'll look kind of grayish.
It almost looks like somebody took a pencil and wrote all over it.
Now, if you see nails that it looks like somebody took a needle and poked little holes in it,
Mhm.
that's usually a sign of psoriasis, and then you can get psoriatic arthritis with that. Um, but other times you just have, there's so many things that would be a whole show in
What
itself.
about ridges? Oh, well, we can do a whole show on nails. But how about someone that has ridges? Does that just need like filing down? What does that mean?
I would tend to ignore it, but it can suggest zinc deficiency.
Zinc deficiency.
Or it could be trauma to the nail bed would be two of the common things.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Moving along. Moving along. I said gas, but I think we covered the acid reflux. But can is that?
So we go lower downstream and talk
Let's
about
go lower
irritable bowel
downstream. We
syndrome.
talk the what?
Irritable bowel syndrome, gas,
Irritable bowel
bloating,
syndrome. Let's
diarrhea, and
do that one.
constipation.
Okay.
So if you have gas, bloating, diarrhea, and or constipation, you go to the doctor. The doctor will usually do the usual expensive tests if they're a gastroenterologist, or if they're not, then they won't do the test. And they'll just say, well, we don't know why you have it. But they won't say, we don't know why you have it. They say, you have irritable bowel syndrome. which translates to you have gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation. We have no clue why, but we don't want to say we have no clue why, so we'll give it a name. Bowel syndrome. So,
Let's sell more medication. Yeah.
and there can be more medications for it. But what I found in my experience is that probably the most common cause of irritable bowel syndrome would be candida or yeast overgrowth, especially if you have nasal congestion, postnasal drip, clearing the throat a lot, sinusitis. That's candida until proven otherwise. I'll use a good probiotic. There's Pearls Elite. There's one very good one. There's a number of very good ones. I will use the medication diflucan here, and I'll do that for 6 weeks.
And how much do you give for 6 weeks?
200 milligrams a day for 6 weeks. And the doctor, because that's really a holistic remedy, will say, "Oh no, that's a toxic medicine. It's going to deliver."
That's what I was told when I brought it to the pharmacist.
And then you ask, "Oh, how does that compare to the risk of Tylenol?" Well, much less than Tylenol, but this is what holistic doctors give you after rant on it. So I've treated thousands of people, never seen any worrisome issue with that. The main issue is that when you kill off any chronic infection, you can flare the symptoms of that infection, called the Herxheimer reaction. So if you're sensitive to stuff, start slowly work your way up. But most people don't have an issue with that. If you have remember in grade school, there'd always be this one little kid who would suddenly everybody's nose would go like, "Oh God, what's that?" And the little kid would turn around and smirk at everybody. And
silent but deadly. Yeah.
Silent but deadly. That sulfur smell says that it's not irritable bowel from the large intestine, but that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And that smell will tell you, there's a very nice herbal mix called Ultra MFP Forte, also hard to find. We have that on our website at nfatigue.com. 2 twice a day for a month. We'll generally tend to put that right back into put the help the gut the small intestine be sterile as it's supposed to be. And you'll tell because suddenly everybody won't be going like when you walk in the room. So, yeah.
But isn't that the sign of a non-vegan diet?
No.
No?
You can see increased
Smell.
kind of smelling funky from meat because you're changing the whole gut, bacteria. But that sulfur smell.
So the sulfur smell is
heavy
this
poop smell.
small
They're
intestine
not quite the same. And
bacteria
small intestinal. Yep.
So what is the difference between candida and small intestinal overgrowth?
Well, candida is a very different bug. If you look at comparative sizes, if the bacteria was like the size of a period at the end of a sentence, candida would be as big as a whole house. Also, it causes leaky gut far more, and it's in the large intestine. The small intestinal bacterial overgrowth are bacteria that are out of balance because they don't belong in the small intestine.
Wow.
So the treatments are different. The medical treatment would be rifaximin, but I would start with the Ultra MFP Forte first because that'll usually tend to restore the healthy small intestinal sterility.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So anything else that you want to say about that?
Nope, that takes care of it for people.
Now, one in particular that you are just a champion in is fibromyalgia. There's a lot of people who have pain. Do you feel like we covered it with pain, or do you want to go back and say anything about fibromyalgia?
Just very simply, if you have the combination of you can't sleep despite being exhausted, that's a paradox. A lot of people are exhausted, but you sleep all night and all weekend. If you can't sleep well despite being exhausted and have widespread pain, you have fibromyalgia. It represents an energy crisis. Our published double-blind placebo-controlled studies showed an average 90% increase in quality of life using a comprehensive protocol that you can find at vitality101.com. And again, I treat people all over the world, often by phone consult, for that condition.
Okay, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you for a phone consult, Dr. Teitelbaum, would they just reach out to you at vitality101.com?
Yes, there's a Q&A. There's a question and answer thing where I take questions on the website. Or you can email Sarah at appointments, with an S at the end, at nfatigue.com.
Okay, Sarah, appointments at nfatigue.
Yes, Sarah is her name, but the email is appointments at nfatigue.com.
Okay. So here we go. We got 10 minutes left in the broadcast. But so if those of you who are watching that didn't hear me say this before. If you have a question for Dr. Teitelbaum, you're going, God, I hope they talk about this before the end of the show /classroom, then put a Q in the comment section, write the question down. If the question is too sensitive, you can text me at 407-373-5959, and we'll address it, 407-373-5959. Okay, so let's talk about insomnia. Let's talk about lack of sleep, because a lot of the issues that happen with fibromyalgia, anxiety, depression may be correlated with insomnia, not sleeping well. What can you say about that?
Well, again, the average night's sleep until light bulbs were invented about 140 years ago was 9 hours a night average in the US. If you go back several thousand years, medical anthropologists tell us the average night's sleep was 11 hours a night. We are now down to 6 3/4, which is a 30% pay cut, which means increased pain. That causes an average 6.5-pound weight gain and 30% increased risk of obesity. It causes a host of problems: fatigue, brain fog, immune dysfunction. So you really want to get your sleep. Now, the stress of modern life often suppresses a sleep center called the hypothalamus, makes it flicker and harder to fall asleep. Also, many of you have kids, and you wouldn't dream of taking your 3-year-old and running them like crazy through Chuck E. Cheese and watching a Chucky movie, a horror movie and all the rest, and say, okay, into bed now. It wouldn't work very well. You have a bedtime routine that's calming and just kind of tells the brain that it's time for sleep now, and you have those bedtime routines for children. And when it comes to sleep, we're just big children. Make your own adult bedtime routine, whether it's not so much in summertime, but in wintertime, a hot bath with a cup of Epsom salts, a glass of wine, light some candles, some quiet music, read a calming book. Don't watch the news networks. They are, every one of them, a toxic fiction. I mean, God bless. I'm on CNN, I'm on Fox. They're all nice people. I get quoted by the media frequently, and they like me, and they may be quoted correctly 20% of the time. But most of the time, it's either total fiction that they make up, or they just totally leave out the critical pieces to make whatever point they were going to make before they talk to anybody. So it's a fiction meant to scare you. Don't watch that stuff, and especially not before bedtime. Then there's herbal mixes. My two favorites would be the Revitalizing Sleep Formula. Another one was terrific, ZZZZ. But again, the Hemp Select hemp oil for hard cases, especially if you have nighttime pain, can be a lifesaver for so many people, 3 to 5 at bedtime.
And that's Hemp Select.
Hemp Select. That's the only
How
hemp
do you
oil
take that? How do you take it? Is it a capsule? Is it a topical? Okay, so it's a capsule.
There's a Hemp Select liquid if you have pain in a small area, that it's more cost effective to just rub over the area of the pain. But otherwise, it's more cost effective to take the capsules if you're trying to get your whole body effect, like anxiety and sleep and widespread pain. So doing these kind of things, and there's more in the app too, you'll be able to sleep like kittens and puppies.
And Barbara, we'll ask you a question right after the broadcast. I just want to make sure that we wrap things up for podcast, for the people who are listening on podcasts. But again, those of you who are listening on podcasts, you're more than welcome to join us during the live broadcast and the classroom so that you can be a part of it as well. Before we leave, is there anything in particular that you would like to add about our bodies and our ability to heal?
I want to finish with the same thing I started with. Learn to trust your feelings. The things that feel good, that's your soul, psyche's, intuitions, whatever you want to call it, way of saying, yes, this is authentic. This is a match for you. Follow that. Now, somebody say, well, how about heroin? I'll feel better for a short while. And then ask the second question, how's that working out for you? So how does it feel? How's it working out for you? Use those two to guide your GPS. You will get exactly where you want to go, better than listening to anybody else's instructions. So take what I gave you today, the things that feel good, use them. The things that don't, they're not for you. Discard them.
Isn't that, that's a prayer, I say. It's a prayer that I only want what God wants for me. And I know that I will be given the grace to accept whatever it is. And I know that I can just turn away and shift if it's not for me. Yeah, maybe I'll throw a little tantrum. But once I come to my senses and realize that if it's not for me, why would I want it?
Yes. And Lillian, God only wants for you what you want for you.
Yes, and the best. Yes, exactly right. And that is absolutely right. And God wants only the best for us, only abundance, only what is honoring of who we are. And so with that in mind, that's that little shift that we get to experience and looking at things. And Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Want to change the world? Change yourself. And then once you change yourself, the world looks so different. So please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you. It's time to take our health back. That's Cures A-Z. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever! Yay!
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so here's the after party. After party with all our friends who are being patient now and asking. So the next question we have is from Barbara. She says, I have IBS and my nose runs every time I eat. I know it sounds crazy, but like clockwork at dinner, my nose runs. Do you know why?
Well, first of all, address the candida, but that if the runny nose is all that, you want to do that. But the candida still, but here's the key thing. There's a good probability you have food allergies or food sensitivities, to be more accurate. There's a technique. You can go online, www.n like Nancy, A-E-T like Tom. Um, so nat.com, you can find practitioners probably in your area. Maybe only a quarter of that many of practitioners are on the website, so you can just do a search on NAET and the area that you live. They can do an allergy elimination technique using acupressure and muscle testing to see what you're sensitive to, and each treatment can clear one food group sensitivity. So plan to do about 15 treatments, doing all the basics. But very often, if you have the runny nose right after you eat and the gut stuff, think food allergies or food sensitivities. I will
Interesting.
note that the blood tests for food sensitivities are worse than useless.
So with that in mind, I avoid gluten, I avoid dairy, I avoid things that I know that I am sensitive to. So is that something, can she do an elimination diet where she cuts out certain things? Are there things that are less reactive that maybe she can surround herself with and then start eliminating?
If you look at vitality101.com in the search box, put in RAPP elimination diet. That was by Dr. Doris Japp. Although it sounds like it's geared for kids, it works very well for adults, and it's a much kinder, gentler, easier elimination diet than most. Then you can start adding things back in, but it'll just tell you and walk you through that whole process.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So I knew that we would not be able to talk from A to Z, all the wonderful things that you can help us with. But what are some of the other natural, like for example, pimples? You know, there are whiteheads, there are blackheads. Do the whiteheads mean something different than the blackheads? Is this like the sharks and the jets?
No, it's just different stages of the pore getting blocked up. So again, key thing, you want to look at your diet, especially things like sugar. The app will go through what the key things for the dietary things are. Simple nutritional things, making sure you have enough zinc. The vitamin A can help, but even small doses like 8,000, anything over 8,000 units of vitamin A can cause birth defects. So in this population, especially for females, I wouldn't go there and just use the zinc. But then the app will have a whole recipe for that.
Very good. And the app he's talking about is Cures A-Z, A-Z. So if you go to your app store on your smartphone and enter that, it'll bring, you can bring it down. It's free for you if you want it, and if you want to upgrade, it's $1.99 to upgrade, and worth your money. You get to see what are some of the things that you can try on your own, and what are some of the things that might need a little bit of intervention. But the bottom line is, and what I'm hearing from you, Dr. Teitelbaum, is being our own MD, being proactive enough so that we don't have to deal with these chronic diseases. I mean, you found yourself in a situation where, you thought it's the end for me. I can't be a doctor. I can't do this. I can't do that. But that was a gift. And as a matter of fact,
A gift and a blessing.
Yes, everything. But here's the thing. When you said you didn't eat for days sometimes, that's a gift for fasting. There is something called fasting. I just did a 5-day water fast.
My wife does 3-week fasts regularly.
3 weeks? Does she do a water fast? Wow. And how do you find her during that time? Has she gotten used to it by now?
Yeah, she makes it easy.
How does she do that?
She just does it. And she follows her own instincts. I get to play doctor sometimes, make sure she's getting the minerals and stuff that she needs.
Yeah.
And I help people with things that are near impossible to get help with and get them well. Lori treats people that have been impossible to get well with other people and makes it look easy.
So Lori is your wife, and is she a doctor as well?
She's an NAT practitioner. That's how I learned about the NAT. I had horrible hay fever, ragweed allergies, and I was a newly minted doctor, not that far into it anyway. And she said, I can get rid of your hay fever in 20 minutes. And I said, that voodoo's not going to help me. Leave me alone. Right? And one day I was especially miserable, and she says, stop being a nitwit and let me treat you. Okay, 20 minutes later, it's like a faucet turned off my nose. Hay fever was gone. Never came back.
What did she do?
She just did the energy technique. She had me hold something with some pollen, and she just hit certain acupressure points in the right areas and had me hold it for 20 minutes and went away. I remember coming to the office one day, and there's this little girl who I had never heard string 2 words together. She's an autistic little gal. And one day I walk in the office and she's running around like, hey, where's Dr. Teitelbaum? What's going on? And she was this chatty Kathy. I said, what just happened here? And she said, I just treated her for, and I think it was phenolics or something like that. And the autism went away. And we talked with other practitioners. That was pretty common. So our foundation funded a study using NAT for autism. It's been published. 23 of the 30 children in the treatment group were back in regular school after 1 year of NAT treatments versus 0 out of 30 in the untreated control group.
Wow. And that's N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, E as in elephant, T as in Tom.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. So they're saying that, Barbara, thank you so much for letting me know that they're having a hard time hearing you. So I can hear you because I can adjust my mic, but there's some adjustment that needs to be done. Okay, so we have another question. She said, poison ivy, I am using essential oils. I recently started a year ago at age 61. So poison ivy, I'm using, are you saying that you have poison ivy essential oil? Is that what you're saying, Victoria?
Or is she using, does she have poison ivy and she's using the oils for the poison ivy?
Okay, but she's saying that she's using it for nearly a year.
I have no knowledge about using poison ivy in an oil. That's not something I would recommend. If somebody has poison ivy, the main thing is avoidance. And when you get recurrent poison ivy, it's usually because one of the dogs or cats or the kids are running through the patches, and then they run in and you go like that and hug them, and you get it. So having somebody come in and clear out any poison ivy in the area would be the way to go. Outside of that, you can use calamine and things like that, but I don't have any other magic for that.
Yeah, so there's no magic for poison ivy.
Avoidance.
Yes, we want to avoid. So, okay, so I'm wondering, Victoria, if you can give us some clarification. I'm so excited to see all of you And in the classroom, Victoria, oh, there's, okay, let's see, Brooklyn? My toddler is dancing. Oh, how cute. Your toddler loves the Lillian McDermott radio show theme song. That is so sweet. You know, my grandchildren sing it. I love to hear them sing it. One of my last
You
shows.
have grandchildren?
Oh, yes,
Good God.
absolutely. Yes, we do. We do. We have grandchildren and love every single one of them. Okay, so let's me go back. Victoria, 3 times now. She said, I have poison ivy that started a year ago. Oh, wow. So she keeps getting it, Dr. Teitelbaum. Is that what I'm hearing you say,
And
Victoria?
that's why avoidance is really the treatment.
So you're thinking it's animals, children that are running through the
Well,
fields?
most often and then they're coming in, it's on their fur or their hair, and it gets them. Yep.
How do you know it's poison ivy? How do you know it's not a rash, an
Well, when
allergic
you have
reaction?
poison ivy or something from the outside, the body doesn't work in straight lines. If there's a rash from an inside job, it's going to be circular, or it's not going to be a straight line. When you see rashes that are straight lines, that's an outside job. You came in contact with poison ivy, poison oaks, poison sumac, something on the outside, and that's how you distinguish it.
So if it's straight,
If there are straight lines, even
it's
an inch or two, if you see straight lines in that rash, it's
uh-huh.
usually an outside job.
But if it's circular, then you will.
Circular or not straight patterns, then look for something on the inside like hives or things like that.
Yes. Okay. So before, if anybody has any questions, then we'll. If you don't have any more questions, then we're going to stop. But I have one more that I would like to talk to you, Dr. Teitelbaum, before we go. It's cold sores, fever blisters, ulcers in the mouth. What do you suggest? What is that? Is it that a deficiency, or is there
Well, we
what's
want to
the?
look at different pieces of that question. If you
Okay.
have the sores in the mouth where, say, the lip meets the gum or on the side,
Mm-hmm.
then most often what you're dealing with would be candida as the cause of that. And treating the candida with the diflucan will usually make that go away and becomes pretty clear. When you're seeing it in one same spot in the crusty, the classic cold sore look,
Mm-hmm.
that's viral. I will use Valtrex 500 milligrams a night just to suppress it. You can use lysine instead. Um, the problem with the lysine in the population I treat is that it suppresses growth hormone as well, which is a problem for people with fibromyalgia. So you can just try the lysine, but if you have fibromyalgia, then the medication, the Famvir or Valtrex, is better. Um, if you're having it on the corners of the mouth, of the lips, that's called angular cheilitis. That most often reflects the B vitamin deficiency or the candida.
Anything else?
Those are the key things that'll do that.
Very good. Okay, so I believe Victoria is confessing that she has goats and chickens. I guess those are her kids.
Okay, there you go.
Dominating you, those goats.
Buck,
Uh,
buck.
it's time to put some long sleeves when you're hugging those goats and chickens.
And
But
wash it off. And when you're washing it off, don't wash it like that because it'll just spread the toxic resin.
uh-huh.
Wash it so that it drips down into the sink.
Interesting. And how do you know you're no longer contagious with
You're
these?
never contagious once you wash it off.
Oh,
It may be little time delays depending on the amount of resin. If a lot of resin hit one area, it may pop up quicker, and a little bit may take a couple days. But once you do a good soapy wash down, it's not contagious.
so it doesn't keep spreading?
No, it's just that different areas will pop out depending on how much of the poison ivy stuff, whether there's a lot or a little bit on that area.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, this is very informative. I know now that we can get Dr. Teitelbaum because we've got the perfect timing for him. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to get him on live. In the past, we've recorded him as a pre-record, but this is the first time we get to share him live on Lillian's radio show on Facebook. And so I want to encourage all of you to share, to like, to follow, do all those things. Now that she's talking about poison ivy, I feel itchy all over. I don't know why, but I feel itchy right now. But anyways,
I'm going to have to run because somebody just came
yes,
in. I'm going to have to
yes.
go.
And yep.
Everybody, as I live in Hawaii, and as we say in Hawaii, aloha.
Aloha. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Teitelbaum. And we're going to say goodbye. Bye.
You all-
Bye, Dr. Teitelbaum. Bye.